I'm Shalina Tobin, aka Poshnosh Gal, and as a great steak lover myself, I am thrilled today to be joined by a real aficionado in the world of meat, Restaurateur Roberto Costa. From his hometown of Genoa in the beautiful Italian region of Liguria, he's now made London his home, where he owns the fantastic award-winning restaurant group Macellaio RC. Welcome, Roberto. I'm going to call you Robbie. How are you doing?
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much. I'm fine. Thank you very much for inviting me. Really.
Thank you so much for your time today. So Robbie, you were born in Genoa, home of pesto. Yeah. Your grandfather was a butcher, and your family had a trattoria. So could you just paint a picture for us on, more of your background and when you were young and what life was like for you back home?
Yeah, well, I started very, very, very young, around 32 years ago, because when, in fact, my parents, we were a humble family. And my dad used to work in the port of Genoa, and my mom was a typical Italian mom. So cooking all day, 3 meals per day, a lot of stuff on the fridge was like, amazing. I've got really, really good memories. And when my dad, he retired about in the 1990 and invest some money in a little trattoria in the suburb of Genoa, and was my first experience. I was 17 because I'm like a donkey. I didn't like to study so much. So at that time, my mom asked me, listen, or you go to school or you straight away go to work. And I decided to go straight away to work. And was probably, I know that, school is really, really important. And I've got a 19 years old daughter, and she's in the university in Pollenzo in Italy. And, but I enjoyed so much my first years as a waiter in this trattoria, because it was all about family. My mom was in the kitchen, my dad was behind the bar counter, and me and my brother were we were waiter, but in fact we did everything, as a typical Italian trattoria. So it was really, really funny.
And did you actually have a love for cooking yourself, or was it always the business side of things that you were interested in?
No, of course. I used to cook for about 6 to 7 years with my mom first, and then with my brother, because I really enjoy to cook. I've got memories, but really because every time that you hear, that you listen from an Italian point of view, is always about grandma, grandparents, the sauce and the Sunday. But it's really true, because I remember on the Sunday when I woke up around 8 o'clock in the morning, there was already the ragu sauce that, boiled, slow cooking, and was the smell was, all around the house. We had a little house, and so in every single room there was this smell, and it was amazing. So I started to go in the kitchen with my mom, and my mom showed me everything, how to cook, how to make ravioli, and was a feast. It was a feast. Yeah.
That's
and
wonderful.
This is our background, because parents after the Second War in Italy was worried about the fridge, not the bank account.
Okay.
So I remember very well that my mom didn't care about to save money, but she really cared to
about
put
food.
good, exactly, food in the fridge, because they during the Second War, they was really, really tough, and to eat, it wasn't too simple.
Yeah.
So we just grew up with this mentality. So that's why I'm almost a maniac about food.
Yeah.
To find the right product, to find the right producer, to meet the producer before to buy the product. That is so really important, because 99% behind a great product, there is always an amazing person.
Yes.
And the storytelling is too important.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we're going to talk about the products a little bit later, because I know that something is very, very important to you.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about like your working life first. I mean, you had your first restaurant manager role at just 20 in Milan. So, I mean, what made you decide to leave the family business and to spread your wings?
But because I was curious, I started to do this work, and the first thing about this work is to improve yourself. At that time, there wasn't people to teach you because people was so selfish. They didn't want to show their knowledge. You in Italy we used to say rubare con gli occhi, stole, steal with the eyes. How to make things. So I started in Genova, but then I thought that Milan could be a most important, a better city to improve myself. And that's it. It's all about, how much you care about yourself, how much you want to improve yourself.
Mm. And
That's
so,
why.
and I mean, it was pretty amazing because whatever you learned, so you obviously learned really, really well, because you went on to opening several bars and restaurants in Genoa. And then, you moved on to other cities in Italy where with your own brand, and you were doing incredibly well out there.
Yeah, but to tell you the truth, it was because I made a lot of mistakes and I improved myself by my mistakes.
Yeah.
That's really because I I started in Genova and I opened it until now. I've opened 41 restaurants and bars in all of my life.
Amazing.
Most of them in Italy, so in Rome, Turin, all around Italy, from Rome to Milan, and I met a lot of people. And but once again, it's all about the curiosity, how much you wanna learn, you know. And Italy is nice because it's not about region by region, but even you mentioned the Liguria, that is my region, of course. Liguria, in my opinion, is the most actual cuisine in Italy because it's so light. It's all about herbs, vegetables, just a few kind of beef, just a few kind of fish. But it's not about the region by region. It's about the village inside the region. Because if you go in Liguria to eat in La Spezia, for example, it's different than Savona, it's different than Genova. So Italy is really interesting about products and it's really interesting about cuisine because even in the same region, the cuisine are different. So I had the opportunity to travel all around our beautiful country to learn about this kind of cuisine. And when I moved in London myself was like was really really good because I came in London and I was sure that my experience could help me to do something special.
Yeah. Yeah, and it absolutely did. But we're going to talk about London in a little bit. But just before you arrived in London, so when you actually started opening your restaurants, the group Macellaio. So Macellaio means butchers, correct?
Exactly, and
And
exactly.
so that was I mean, was that your grandfather's? Did the name come from your grandfather?
No, but thanks to my grandfather, because my grandfather was a butcher. And I used to be in the counter, in the butcher counter with him when I was little. And I was fascinated about him because he was all about how suggest people to cook different kind of meat. You know, it wasn't too much about the breed. He didn't care too much about the different kind of breed because the old butchers in Italy were in Liguria. They used to buy only French and Piedmontese kind of breed. In Rome, for example, they used to have just Denmark beef
Okay.
and and so on. but it was really, really good to talk with people. It was really, really good to suggest things. It was really, really good, you know, to do as a storyteller is really good. And I was fascinated because I thought, listen to my granddad is like magic, because everybody can listen to him with the mouth, like, you know, open mouth and listen. And I was fascinated because I thought a simple butcher can do a really great job about products. So when I had the idea that in the first Macellaio concept was called Magela. Magela in our dialect means butcher, in Genovese dialect. So was Magela. And I had two business partners. One of them was Alessandro Garrone. He's a big guy. He owns a big company called ERG Petrol. And he had a restaurant as an hobby. So we started to open in Genova, the first one, around 21 years ago.
Wow.
And was a really, really, really big success because Genova is our hometown, our home city, and we knew a lot of people. So people was intrigued about the new concept because it was the first butcher restaurant in Italy.
Yeah.
So the first one.
Yeah.
So everybody was really intrigued to come and see the concept. And we did a very good job, really good job. So we managed the restaurant. I personally managed the restaurant for 2 years, and I learned a lot because it was in between of a butchers and a restaurant. So I couldn't buy as a restaurant, but I had to buy as a butcher.
Yeah.
But I had to transform the dishes as a restaurant. So it was a mix up of everything. But was really, really good because I learned a lot. And after the second year, we decided to open the second one to try the concept in Italy to see if could go ahead. And we decided to open in Milan. And we opened in Via Villoresi, that is in Navigli, is a famous part of Milan with the crowdy people around. And was a success as well.
Brilliant.
After 1 year in Milan, we decided to open in Rome to have, you know, Genova, our own city, and then Milan and Rome, the most important cities in Italy, of course. And I found a beautiful location around 500 meters to the San Pietro. So it was amazing because my logo was in Milan and in Rome, close to the Cappella Sistina. So, and I was so excited, you know, because I started a few years before as a waiter in my family business without know anything, and to learn, made mistake and go ahead and listen people better than me, you know, with much more knowledge. And after a few years, I just opened it in Rome. So for me, it was like a dream because I didn't travel a lot. And the first 30 years of my life, I was just stuck in Genova. You know, so to start and go in Milan and then in Rome was so excited. And in Rome as well, we had a big success. So after Rome, people in our business start talk about Magela, start talk about myself, and start talk about the project and the concept. Since then, we have opened 10 more restaurants in Italy, in Milan, in Turin, in Modena, Leghorn, Elba Island, in a lot of places. And we did a great job.
Yeah.
Around in 2010, we have opened the second one in Rome. In my opinion, one of the most beautiful place in Rome because it was Piazza delle Coppelle Square. It was in between of Piazza Navona and Pantheon. So every time that I went around the two restaurants in Borgo Vittorio and in Piazza delle Coppelle was like a Italian old movie in the 50s. You
Oh,
know,
wow.
to see all of these things like the Coliseum, the Pantheon, the little street with the San Pietrini on the floor was like, I was amazed. And you know, it was like I had a lot of energy to think that maybe what I did since then was nice, was good, is not just about the profitable things. It's about your satisfaction. You know, when you are satisfied, you can do whatever you want. When you really want something, will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And was like this because for me was the dream came true because I wanted to open more restaurants. I had a clear vision about steak and beef, but at that time I used to use different kind of breed. I used to use in Rome. I used to use the Denmark things because I wasn't too confident, you know. So I tried to buy different breed in different kind of cities. So in Turin we use the Piedmontese, in Rome the Denmark, in Milan a different kind, the Bavarian one, and so on. And
so you were just testing out the market and you were trying out different things.
Exactly.
But now, I mean, you found something that actually makes your restaurants very special now. And you know, we're talking about beef, and you used a very special breed of beef, Fassona.
Exactly.
So tell us, why is I don't know, it comes from the mountains of Liguria, but tell us why is this particular breed so special?
Yeah, it's so special because Fassona breed come to two different places in Piedmont, Langhe and Cuneo. Langhe is an amazing place where there was there is a beautiful mountain with probably the most important grape in Italy, Nebbiolo to make Barolo, for example. And at the end of the last century, in Guarene, that is a village opposite to the most famous Barbaresco, was born the first cow with the hypertrophic muscle. That's why it's different, because the hypertrophic muscle make the animal bigger.
Okay.
The muscle are double muscle. And that means that there is just a low fat. It's so thin. And in my view, that means that fat doesn't mean good for the flavor. We can have a beautiful piece of steak without so much fat, and the taste could be great. The Fassona breed is the most thinner cow in the world. They got the less cholesterol in the world, less than salmon and chicken as well. So we can say that it's the most healthier beef in the world. But the taste, if you know how to manage, how to dry age, the process to dry age the beef, you can have the right balance in between the elegance and that kind of twist, you know, of the flavor. So it's all about the balance. You have to know how to treat the animal, and the result is really different. I cannot say that it's better or worse, but of other breed, but it's absolutely different. That's why I love Fassona.
And also, I mean, it's not only, you know, the animal and the dry aging process that you go through, but also, you know, how you cook it is, you know, a very essential part of it. Could you give me like a quick recommendation? Do you you know, oven or frying it or on the barbecue?
I can tell you that my favorite piece of Fassona is the part of the top side. is the leg.
Uh-huh.
But because I like to eat the raw beef as a steak tartare, but in an Italian way. We call in Italy, we call battuta. Battuta means that we chop the beef in the counter and we add just 3 ingredients: extra virgin oil, salt, and pepper.
Wow.
That's it.
Okay.
No lemon at all.
Wow.
At all.
It's very simple.
Just 3, simple, because you can feel the taste. You can feel the flavor because it's all about, I think that our cuisine, it's all about the memories. Sometimes when I eat something really, really good, I can close my eyes and go back when I was younger. That's the most beautiful thing about cuisine. And, the Fassona breed raw is the best way to go at home, because then if you can re-age the beef and on the grill, is really, really nice. But once again, pure and simple, because if you see in Spain, everybody has got different kind of way to cook the beef.
Yeah.
If you go in Spain, that I really like the vaca vecha, the Galician one, is really, really good. Heavy, but really, really good. They cook with a lot of salt on top, and they cook in the barbecue with a lot of salt in. I don't like the salt because make the beef dry.
Right.
You have to have the beef have to have the right juice inside, and then you can add salt and pepper only after that you cook the beef.
And so, okay, well, I'll keep that in mind when I'm making mine over the weekend, and I'll let you know how it goes.
Please. Thank you.
So, when you describe the tartare and you say, close your eyes, I can really visualize it. And you describe your restaurants as theater. So tell us why you do that.
But it's simple, because I used to work as a waiter for many, many years. And every time that I started the service was like to show my capacity, on the table. You've got every single night, every single dinner or lunch, you've got different people, like in the theater. You have to show at your best your knowledge. And that's why I think that the theater and the restaurants are really similar. Because if you are good, they can clap. If you are bad, it's like a theater. It's like a theater. You cannot be moody.
Yeah.
You cannot be, upset. It's like to be an actor, because when you go to the restaurant, as soon as you change your clothes, you have to completely change your attitude. You have to smile. You have to be positive. You have to talk with people, and it's not simple. It's not natural. Yeah. So that's why I explain the comparison in between theater and the restaurant.
Yeah, it's really nice. It actually reminds me of Salt Bay. So
yeah.
like when I think of theater with him and he does the salt on his arm.
He's great.
Have you been to his restaurants?
Yeah. I've been in Miami, I've been in Dubai and New York as well. And I have to say that I always, the first time in Dubai, I wasn't sure. But then in Miami and New York, I really had a very, very good meal. Yeah. And he's got a huge personality. He's really good. He's really good. Hands up.
So what was it that brought you to London? You have obviously had so much success back home. How come you decided London is the place that I want to go?
Because there was the Olympic Games on 2012, and I spoke with my business partners, and I tried to convince them to open in London, because after the Olympic game could be a massive work for us, and we needed to try our concept in a cosmopolitan city, international city, and was the closest to Italy. Because Paris, about beef, they are a bit, in my opinion, a little bit snob about beef. So the right place was, in my opinion, was London. So they followed me, and we opened the restaurant in the October 2012. And I was so proud because, as I mentioned before, you know, I have opened it in Rome, and I was absolutely thrilled about the restaurant in Rome. But in London was even more, even because at that time London was in a boom, really. And when we opened it, I was sure about myself, and I put in the close in South Kensington branch, the first one in Northampton Road.
Yeah.
I put the fridge of the meat, the dry aging fridge, just in the entrance, close to the street, with the beef, with
On
a lot
display.
of beef, exactly, on the display. And people thought that I was crazy, because I was the first Italian guy, that I was bringing the Italian breed. I was the first guy to make a kind of Italian butcher and restaurant. So a lot of people that I met at that time, and then I knew a little bit better during the years later. They told me that they thought that I was crazy, because too many different things in a city like London. They thought that in 6 months I was closed the restaurant.
Right.
And fortunately, I didn't close the restaurant. And 2 years later,
You opened another one.
I bought from my ex company the restaurant in South Kensington. So I remained alone on 2014.
Oh, right. Okay.
And
this is your sole venture without your business partner.
I spent all of my money. I was so funny, because this is a thing that I not usually say, because it's a bit intimate. But when I bought the restaurant in South Kensington, I had gone left about 256 pounds in my account.
Wow.
No more. 256 pounds.
Wow.
Because I really believed in that project. And to tell you the truth, if my guys knew about these things, probably they left the restaurant, and I could remain alone. But anyway, was really nice, because after that we start to work really, really, really well. We did an amazing job, and the year after, I was my money back, the money that I bought the restaurant, but
more money in the bank account. Yay.
Exactly, much more money to invest in the new one, because I bought the second one 1 year later, and then the third one, and the fourth one, and the fifth one, until the sixth one in Fulham Broadway, where I did Casa Costa. So I cannot complain.
Well, I think that's excellent, and that's a real testament to your passion, and actually really believing in what you do. You know, you put everything you had into it, and you didn't care who was with you. You just went for it.
But you know what? I think that for a real entrepreneur, there is no plan B.
Right.
When I heard someone to say, yeah, listen, we can do that, but there is no but, there is no if. If you believe in something, and if you believe in yourself, you have to go straight. And there is just the plan A. That's it. Otherwise, there are so many distractions,
Yeah.
And I've been lucky as well, of course. But if you don't do anything, you cannot achieve anything.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's, your failures that actually help you along the way, help you learn the lessons.
100%.
So don't be afraid of making mistakes and failing, because you know, it's
Exactly.
important to do that as well. So just correct me if I'm wrong. So you still had the same partners, or they left you? They left you, and did you get a new partner, or you're completely alone at this point?
Yeah, I sold 30% of my company 2 years ago to a family in Italy, Radici Group. They own a big company in Italy, in Bergamo. And now I've got them as a partner, or
Okay.
30% of the share. They
Okay.
are beautiful people. I really enjoy to do my journey with them, really.
Fabulous. That's amazing. So how do you find running your business in London versus in Italy? What are the differences, and where do you prefer?
Hard question. I think that the roots are really important. So I love Italy, and I, in a way, I still work in Italy because all of my producers are in Italy. So the majority of my time is in Italy to research and to find new producers. But there is no comparison. London is miles away better than Italy to work and to have a business. Because when I came in London, I remember very well, I managed 13 restaurants in Italy. So we had already a very good management to manage the restaurant. But when I came in London, since the beginning, I was impressed about the back office. That is totally different than Italy. You have to be, there is no bureaucracy here, it's not heavy. In Italy, the bureaucracy is really, really heavy.
Okay.
You've got option here, you've got software. You can manage a restaurant in a right way, in a healthy way. Because in Italy, unfortunately, there is still too many black. People don't want to pay too much taxes. They do black. You cannot have a right business like this.
Yeah.
In London, it's completely different. You pay less taxes, the company taxes, of course, and you can manage in the right way to have software and a good management to follow in these things. So it's completely different.
Yeah. It's definitely sounds very different, and a lot more. I guess if it's legit and it's honest, then then you can grow in such a nice way, and the other restaurants that are your competitors, everyone has equal opportunity. I suppose that's what I'm saying. So you were actually voted best authentic Italian restaurant in London just a couple of years ago. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
That must have felt amazing for you, because that is, what you want to bring to London, authenticity.
Exactly. That's what I wanted since the beginning, because authenticity makes the difference. And authenticity is not too complicated. It's just to show the simple things, details make the difference. And authenticity means, for example, to go to try a Castelmagno cheese in the Castelmagno mountain is not just because you heard something about the cheese and you will buy online or something like this. You have to go there, meet people, see the land, see the caveau where they dry the cheese, talk with people and meet people to understand better the story, the history behind the product. Only after that you can buy. And in my opinion, this means authenticity. You have to be, you need to guarantee your guest, because there is a lot of work behind a dish of pasta. When we talk about spaghetti al pomodoro, spaghetti with tomato sauce, it's not just about tomato sauce. It's to know which kind of tomato. If it's Piennolo del Vesuvio, Corbarino, San Marzano, the yellow one, the cherry tomatoes. There are plenty of different kinds of tomatoes in Italy. And you have to know which is the better, and why you choose the better. This is authenticity, in my opinion.
Yeah. And so we talked about pesto earlier on. I know I mentioned it. So does your pesto come from home?
No, the basil comes from home, but the
Okay.
pesto, we make the pesto here
Okay.
with the right extra virgin oil from Liguria, of course.
Yeah.
The peanuts, the Parmesan cheese, pecorino cheese, garlic, salt, and that's it.
And that
You
all
know,
comes
when
from.
yeah, and of course, yeah, because there is a big difference. For example, for the peanuts, there is a big difference from the Italian peanuts and the Chinese peanuts, because are completely different. The Chinese one are so fat, and they can change your pesto sauce. The Italian one from Pisa, for example, are thinner, and there are no fat. They have no fat at all. So the pesto will be really, really different, even for the peanuts.
Yeah.
The extra virgin oil is the same. The pecorino, the right amount of pecorino cheese and Parmesan cheese is really important. And of course the basil, because when you got the basil from Italy, it's about this, the leaf. When you see the basil in London or in some other place, it's like lettuce. It's
Okay.
not the same. It's not the same. So once again, details. But I was born just above a big land with basil. So every morning when I went to the balcony, the smell was like paradise.
Oh, you're painting
I'm a
such a
big
great picture. I can smell it.
I'm a big fan of pesto.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, you have the most amazing ingredients coming over. How do you find the right chefs? How do you find the right staff who are going to, treat the ingredients with respect and make it exactly how you want it? How do you go about staff? Because that's quite a big key.
First of all, it's all about attitude in our restaurant. We don't need a big, huge chef. We need people, we need passionate people that can understand our product, because the Italian cuisine in general is a cuisine without ego, because it's all about product. It's not about recipe. So we need people with the right attitude and of course a good knowledge about Italian cuisine. And 95% of our chefs are Italian.
Yeah.
Of course, because they can, you need to know the differences in between, for example, mozzarella. If you got mozzarella from Puglia, if you got mozzarella from Campania, if you got mozzarella from Lazio, it's always mozzarella, but it's completely different. So we need that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, just so moving on to just completely different topic for now. I mean, this is a very crazy time for the industry, as we all know. Everyone's really going through quite a difficult time. You're also struggling with Brexit as well. Tell us the challenges that you're having to go through with both Brexit and COVID. Where do you start?
I don't know. No, but I was really, really, really worried a couple of years ago when people voted, because I thought that Brexit could affect really, really badly the industry. Then there was the COVID, so it was worse. So now we need to manage Brexit and COVID at the same time. It's almost impossible. If you want to understand better, I think that could be worse. You need just to believe in what you do. You need just to really be dynamic, because otherwise, right now, I'm looking for 3 different places, for Macellaio and Casa Costa,
Yeah.
just because I need to be dynamic, you know. Otherwise, if I remain flat, I think that I could explode myself. But Brexit, it's difficult to know, because right now there is no deal, and there is 1 month left to make a deal. We don't know yet if there is or there isn't the deal. So if there will be no deal, it will be a little bit more difficult for the supplier, because we probably we will wait much more than the order compared to this time. But even for the low prices product, could be a little bit worse, because if there will be duty in this product, people probably can start to find different kind of product, and for the Italian industry could be really bad.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously, I mean, if prices go up, that would have to reflect in the food at the restaurant, which again makes it very, very difficult for you.
Exactly. I have right now, I have no answer really, because we don't know yet what will happen.
Yeah.
With Casa Costa, we've got our own supplier, so we buy directly to the supplier in Italy, from the producer in Italy, and we improved a lot since before that. We had different kind of supplier in London, so now we supply our own restaurant, so it's a bit different, but will be hard. I think that quality will win always.
Yeah.
Always.
So you just mentioned Casa Costa, and you launched this year in July 2020. So was that driven from the pandemic, or was it something that you had thought about doing before?
Yeah, no, I thought about the Casa Costa idea a couple of years ago, because I was a bit scared about Deliveroo, Uber Eats, and all the platforms to deliver food at home, because started to a couple of years ago, we saw that the competition wasn't about restaurant by restaurant, but was about delivery platform to the restaurant. So I thought to make our own delivery. It's not right to say thanks to the pandemic, but you know what I mean.
But you can always make something good out of a bad situation. You got to find the good stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So I improved the idea, and I start to bring in London more exclusivity. So thanks to my experience of the 20 years before to came in London, I know a lot of different producers in Italy, artisan or biggest one. And I started to talk to them, and they were happy to follow me. So I started to think bigger, and I did this kind of concept that is not just about delivery for the restaurant, but even grocery, delicatessen. There is a shop, is a speakeasy as well, and we got the warehouse in the room downstairs in Fulham Broadway, where there are some tables as well. Okay. So I try to mix up the warehouse, the shop, and the restaurant to make something completely different.
Right. And is that going to continue?
Absolutely.
Amazing.
We are excited because we will open next Thursday as a restaurant, and we've got already. We are already fully booked for the first 2 weeks, so I'm pretty happy. Amazing. And we'll see. We'll go ahead.
Fabulous. So we've covered Brexit and COVID. I understand the challenges, and everything's incredibly difficult. But just outside of that, what are the biggest challenges that you've had to face in your career?
but when I came in London, for sure, because I was alone, completely alone. I didn't speak one word of English, anything. I told you, I was like a donkey, so I went to the school, so no English.
Well, donkey did very
No,
well, because your English now is excellent.
no, please. I'm so shy because my English is not good at all. But anyway, I try to explain myself. So I was alone. We didn't have any budget for marketing. So we came and we opened the door, just praying to let people come. So it was a big challenge, even because I didn't know the market. I didn't know people in London. So, and the concept was unique. I was the first one to bring the Fassona breed in London. So was strange because an Italian restaurant was all about, you know, the comfort food was about a mix of fish, beef, or pasta, was about pizza, but it wasn't at all about just one kind of breed, Fassona. So was a big challenge, but I really work hard, and I was so lucky because I met few people that they are following me. Um, they still follow me, and it's all about team because alone I couldn't do anything, but with the right team you can achieve whatever you want. And I found a great team. I've got few people right now here with me that they are with me since the beginning, and volere potere. If you want, you achieve.
Put beautifully. Yeah, absolutely. And so what kind of advice would you give to others facing similar challenges in the industry, people who want to get into hospitality? What kind of advice would you give them?
To believe in their self, for sure, and don't listen too much other people. If they, because sometimes when you are sure and try to explain to others around you if it's right or not, it's complicated. You become more confused. And if you believe in yourself, you have to be brave and go ahead, straight, go ahead. That's the only thing. And as I told you before, there is no plan B. There is just one plan.
Yeah, fabulous advice. And so, Robbie, it's been amazing getting to know you. Just wanted to get to know you a little bit better, because I got to say it's a pleasure chatting with you. I've done a lot of research, so I feel like I already know you. So
Thank you. Thank you very much.
my last question is always actually for me more than anything. Tell me something about yourself that I couldn't possibly know.
About my life, about my work, or in general.
Let's say about your life in general. What would you like to share with us who don't know this personal side of you? It could be
Yeah, but
anything you like.
I think that I'm a really generous guy because but when I always thought these things. When you want to achieve something, you don't have to think about anything. So you don't have to think about your son or your daughter, or your children in general, or your wife, or nobody, because you have to be selfish in that way to achieve. Otherwise, could be a distraction to think about wife, family in general, friend. But when you achieve something that you without think about other people, and when you achieve something, you have to share, because the value of the share is double. If you share, your victory, the victory become double. If you share something bad, is like less. is like half. So share is the most important thing to do in your life, in my opinion. And I really like it. I like to share.
Yeah, that's really lovely. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's
Thank
been
you very much, Shalina.
wonderful chatting with you.
Thank you.
Guys, if you want to keep up with Robbie, he is on Instagram at Robbie Costa _ and I'm at Posh Nosh Gal. Thank you so much, Robbie.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.